Thunderbolts. Comics or movies, who did it better? Let's kick it off with the character differences. Bucky. The MCU's version is very different from the teenage Bucky who was once Captain America's sidekick. He was a bony teenager with short hair and a black mask. Think Batman and Robin, but for Captain America. Can you imagine Sebastian Stan as that scrawny, relentless teenager? Yeah, me neither. It's a good thing that the MCU changes storylines. The MCU's Bucky Barnes is very similar to his comics counterpart. He has neck-long black hair, the red star on the vibranium arm. But remember, the similarity only stands as long as we're talking about the Winter Soldier. In the MCU, Bucky is Steve's best friend from before the war. He was an infantry officer during World War II, and eventually he became a super soldier when Zola kidnapped him and injected him with the super soldier serum. In the comics, Bucky was a teenager who met Captain America after being recruited by the US Army. He became his sidekick, only known as Bucky, with no powers, just determination. Sadly, he was killed in action. He was only a boy, so his death didn't hit Steve that hard. But in both cases, Bucky returned from death now as the Winter Soldier. In the comics, it was the Soviets who turned him into a killing machine, but in the MCU, it was Hydra. Yelena Belova is a blonde, fit, skilled Russian spy in both the MCU and the comic books. However, she couldn't be more different in personality. Florence Pugh made Yelena funny. She's sassy in a tomboyish way and has a dry sense of humor that combines great with her quick wit. But in the comics, the Yelena from before the MCU was evil. A femme fatale type of character with very little personality beyond hating Black Widow. A few comics like Pale Little Spider attempted to give her an actual personality, but failed. She has only recently become more three-dimensional, but at the same time, she looks more and more like Pugh's version. In the Blood Hunter series, she has the braided hair look, signaling that she's finally becoming the widow we all love. But the most important difference between both Yelenas is a character's backstory. In the MCU, Yelena is Natasha Romanoff's adopted sister, who Natasha abandoned unwillingly. While in the comics, they're only peers, and Yelena resents her for betraying the Red Room. This means their bond isn't as emotional as in the films. It's more of a hero-villain standard conflict, which is kind of boring. The movies did a much better job at showing their connection and making us care about this character. Taskmaster is one of those characters who change a lot from the comics to the movies. We're not just saying that. The MCU's Taskmaster is so different from the comics that she has a different gender. The MCU's Taskmaster is a woman. Her name is Antonia Dreykov. She's the daughter of General Dreykov, the mastermind behind the Highness Red Room. He enhanced her cybernetically, only to turn her into his personal assassin. Zero paternal love here. In the comics, Taskmaster is actually Tony Masters, a former S.H.I.E.L.D. agent turned mercenary after injecting himself with super soldier serum. Like Antonia, Tony isn't a full villain. He does what he has to. And he even joins the Secret Avengers at some point. Although he fights heroes like Thor, so he isn't good either. More like morally ambiguous, like the Thunderbolts. So overall, the MCU Taskmaster is completely different from Tony. Their abilities, though, are pretty much the same. They both have this photographic reflex, which allows them to perfectly copy their opponent's movements right after they do them. Think about how perfect Taskmaster's fight with Black Widow was the first time that we saw it in the movie Black Widow. The main physical difference between Alexei Sosakov, aka Red Guardian in the MCU, and the comics is the MCU variant's beard. And funny enough, the comics have started to include it in recent years. Apart from this, both versions are super soldiers with superhuman strength, reflexes, and stamina. He uses a powerful shield, but his muscles are his true weapon. However, the Red Guardian in the comics never had any connection with the Red Room. While the MCU version became Dreykov's Red Hen, even delivering his adoptive kids Natasha and Yelena for them to turn into widows, the comics version was never the father to these characters. Instead, he was actually married to Natasha. The movie's Red Guardian is hilarious. He's kind of pathetic at times, but his comedic timing is perfect.
I love that guy.
The comics version, not so much. He's cold, often cruel, and especially a very, very serious man. Of course, fans love the film's version, but the comics one, yeah, not so popular. Ghost debuted in Ant-Man and the Wasp as Ava Starr, a woman with a problematic molecular instability who needed Janet Van Dyne's help to save her. In the comics, Ghost is actually a man. Marvel hasn't revealed his name, but we all know he's an inventor who has gone mad after overusing his ghost suit. This armor gives him intangibility, like the MCU version. However, Ava became intangible herself following an accident. No suit needed. The MCU's Ghost and the comics Ghost are truly different. In the comics, this villain isn't even related to Ant-Man. Instead, he goes against Iron Man. Since Marvel Studios clearly took tons of creative licenses with Ava, we're kind of excited to see what the Thunderbolts has prepared for this character.
Stop! Please, John, stop!
US Agent didn't really change that much during the jump from comics to the MCU. Not only the film character does look a lot like his comics counterpart, they're both super powerful men who ended up in the Captain America role only to mess things up. The real main difference between them is that the MCU's John Walker was never meant to be a super soldier. He kind of took the serum all by himself. While in the comics, Walker was given a couple of nice enhancements, all organized by Power Broker Inc. Walker also didn't behead anybody in the comics, but he still did some pretty questionable things. Just like the time he led Norman Osborn's Dark Avengers into becoming enforcers for a dictatorship. Crazy. Who knows what's next for him in the MCU?
I'd like not to die today.
But one thing is, sir, US Agent will have to do some pretty cool things to earn the trust of the more lawful characters like Bucky or even Sam Wilson. Since the Thunderbolts movie will premiere in a couple of weeks, we're yet to find out the details of their first adventure.
There's something wrong.
So far, we know Contessa Valentina Allegra de la Fontaine, a beautiful name,
You can just call me Val, but don't call me Val.
will be the one to assemble the team through a deadly trap.
What the hell?
However, we still don't know why exactly. In the comics, the first ever Thunderbolts assembled after Baron Helmut Zemo rebranded the Masters of Evil into a team of heroes so no one would suspect his plans. Since then, there have been at least a dozen of different teams. Some have been mercenaries, like Thunderbolt Ross's team. Some have been ruthless villains, like Taskmaster's team. Others, the best rosters, of course, have been heroes, like Bucky Barnes' current team.
We could be the people that are coming.
We can't help but wonder what kind of team the MCU's Thunderbolts will be.
Us? Yeah, you. Why, you got someplace to be?
Likely they will be all heroes, but it may take a while for them to get there. After all of these members started off as villains.
We are the Thunderbolts!
And speaking of Bucky leading, will the Winter Soldier lead the MCU Thunderbolts? Because in the comics, Bucky has led the team twice, but so have Taskmaster and US Agent. So the film may include a power struggle, but also it'll be interesting to see if they will stay as heroes, or if, like in the comics, they will dabble into villainy at some point. I think that'd be pretty cool.
That's not good.
What would you guys like to see in the film? And which team do you like better? The comics or the films? Let us know in the comments below. Until next time, thanks for watching CBR.